Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Buckeye Politics. It's me, your favorite Ohioan. So today we're going to be covering the 2022 French presidential election. We looked at the Hungarian election last week, actually. Feels like so long ago, but it was only last week when the Chad Viktor Orban went on to win handily, keep his supermajority, and we're actually very correct with that prediction. Very proud of that. Some people in the comments were saying, he's not going to keep the supermajority. The guy is funded by George Soros are going to win. And then that didn't happen at all because, no one in Hungary actually likes everyone's favorite globalist, George Soros. So, you know what? With that success, and I enjoyed the video, got a lot of views. I enjoyed making it, and I enjoy researching about foreign politics. So with that, I thought, you know what? Why don't I make a video about the French election, considering the fact that it is first tomorrow. So before we starting to get into my prediction and kind of look more deeper at this, we have to clarify how French elections work because it's kind of complicated. So the first round. So French elections are decided in two rounds. You have the first round, which takes place tomorrow, Sunday, April 10th, and the second round, which will take place on April 24th. So this first round, basically any candidate that gets a certain amount of the vote. So it's pretty much like an open primary in the United States. There's some specific rule, but I don't know the exact terminology. But basically, these six individuals and their six parties will be on the ballot for the election. But then the top two who get the most vote, the top two with the highest amount of votes after the first round advance to the second round, where there is then pretty much a runoff. It's kind of like how Georgia and a lot of the South in the United States does their elections. So these six candidates, we have Emmanuel Macron, the incumbent president, who is from the Center Republique en Marche. I'm not going to try pronouncing it in French. It's called the La Repubblica en Marche. That was so bad, but it's called the Republican March. It's a center party. It says it's center, but it's more center left. But that's just how European politics is. For European politics, pretty much it's center, but it is center left. In my opinion, it's basically just it was kind of founded to bridge the gap between left and right. But all he's done is pissed off the left and the right. So not the best. But, that's all right. Macron with the center party in the incumbent president. We also have Marine Le Pen, who is from the National Front, which is a conservative party, a national populist party, which is actually pretty based on a lot of issues. These two, Le Pen and Macron, were the top two finishers in the last French election back in 2017. However, Macron absolutely destroyed Le Pen in the second round of the election. When Le Pen only won two states, or two departments, it's actually called. She only won two departments, and she only got 38% of the vote. To Macron's 62%, and he won everywhere else. So last time it was the top two candidates were Macron and Le Pen, and Macron beat Le Pen handily. Now, in the actual first round of the results, why don't we go back to the first round, to 2017? So in the first round, as you can see, it was actually at least relatively competitive. Macron only beat. If you look here, it's kind of small to see. Macron got 24% of the votes. Le Pen's 21%. So actually, it was actually very competitive between Macron and Le Pen. However, the other candidates, the center, the more generic conservative party and the socialist left-leaning party, both rallied around Macron, and all their supporters supported Macron. And Macron went on to win pretty handily. He won an absolute landslide. However, this is not going to happen in 2022 because of these parties that we're looking at. One of them is the Recon Coite. I do not speak French, obviously. It's also a conservative party, which is actually even further to the right than Le Pen, and they're actually doing very well. They have a lot of support. So we have at least one. So even if when they go to a runoff, Le Pen and Macron go to the runoff, there is going to be this third party, which is another conservative party that Le Pen is guaranteed to get more support from. So really, Le Pen's first round is really just her floor. She's only going to go up from there. Unlike last time, where everyone rallied against her, Le Pen has allies. Eric Zemmour, leader of this part, this even more even more conservative-leaning party. This guy right here, he has pledged to his supporters that if he does not finish in the top two, he has told them to support Le Pen. This means that obviously Le Pen, it can only go up from her percentage in the first round, which is great. That's the reason she lost last time, was because no one supported her. It was kind of like the Georgia runoff to a certain extent. You know how we had David Perdue narrowly defeated John Ossoff. And then all the independents and all the liberals kind of teamed up to support John Ossoff, and then John Ossoff narrowly defeated. Obviously, Macron led originally, but you kind of get the point. It was basically Le Pen got screwed over by all the other parties uniting around Macron. However, that's not going to happen this time because obviously we have this more conservative party who has pledged to support Le Pen. But even the liberal-leaning parties, such as this party, the La France Insoumise, which is a democratic socialist and left-wing party, this guy has not really been too supportive of Macron. He has not commented on whether or not his supporters should support Macron, which is a big issue for Macron because a lot of this guy is pretty much guaranteed to come in third place. He's actually being competitive in some polling. So pretty much the largest group besides the Macron's own supporters that could support him, because these guys, the liberal people, flocked to Macron in 2017 because Le Pen was just seen as so far to the right. So these guys might not support Macron. Their leader has not commented yet whether or not he wants them to support Macron. Now I'm sure some will, but a lot probably won't if their leader doesn't tell them to. So right now, right off the bat, Macron is in a little trouble for the second round because Le Pen has guaranteed supporters from Eric Zemmour, while Macron's it's a backup demographic or backup group, which is led by Mélenchon. I'm pronouncing his name so wrong. I apologize. I don't really care, but for someone from France is probably screaming right now. But the supporters of Mélenchon, they are not. Some of them might support Macron, but not all of them. So these two parties usually only get like a 5% of the votes. Whoever they support really wouldn't even matter. So that's why I'm not talking about them. But if we go down to polling, it's not only that, but not only what we see. But let's go down to polling real quickly, where as you can see, Le Pen is actually she was kind of had originally back in like February of last year. But this is like way too early to really judge anything. It's really around here we should look at. But look at this. Recently, in the last few weeks, Marine Le Pen has absolutely surged, and she is really taking on Macron. Macron had a big surge right after the invasion of Ukraine by the Russians because he painted Le Pen as this like, oh, she's a Putin apologist, and oh, she supports Putin, and oh, look at what we're doing to promote peace in Ukraine. And the people of France absolutely love that. So the people of France began to flock to Macron. However, he has since taken a big dive as his peace talks failed. His sanctions have screwed over a lot of the French middle class. And Le Pen is not the Le Pen of 2017. Marine Le Pen of 2022. She is less focused on the, for lack of a better word, conspiracy theory parts of conservatism. As you know, she's a big believer in certain conspiracy theories that I don't want to discuss because I don't want to get the channel banned. But she is definitely more of the conspiratorial part of the conservative movement and the national populist movement. But she has changed her tune on that. This time, while she does still support a lot of that stuff with immigration and abortion, and she is still pretty conservative overall. I'm not 100% sure if she's pro-life or not. I believe she is, but I don't know that for a fact. But that's besides the point. It was mostly about immigration she was a big conspiracy theorist with. But she has kind of disregarded that, and she has ran on this kind of anti-establishment, similar platform to 2017, so she kept her base, but she's also improved with her kitchen table issues focus, similar to that of, you may remember, Glenn Youngkin and Viktor Orban in Europe and Glenn Youngkin in Virginia, that really helped these two conservative people cross over the finish line. So Le Pen's focus on kitchen table issues helped her a lot already. She was pretty much going to be facing Macron in the general. But as Macron's sanctions against Russia has really hurt the middle class of Europe and especially France, Le Pen, her pro-worker and pro-business, her approach has really gained influence because of Macron's policies with Russia. Macron going after Russia with sanctions, with economic stuff, and with the rest of NATO, and has really sent the price of gas up, sent the price of food supplies, sent the price of everyday appliances way up. And he has played right into Le Pen's hand. Macron going after Russia really helped him originally, but after the prices of everything skyrocketed, the middle class, which France is actually still a relatively working class, blue collar country, and it's still relatively suburban. France is kind of weird, but it's still relatively it's still very working class, relatively suburban, relatively blue collar, and so because of that, yes, sure, his policies against Russia helped him at first. He saw a huge gap. Once the prices of everything went up, he just played right into Le Pen's hand about how we need to bring down inflation, we need to have the economy under control, we need to stay out of world affairs because it hurts us more than it hurts them, and really it's none of our business. And because of that, she has seen an absolute surge recently. look at this. She is now within a few percentage points of Macron, which didn't even seem possible. For the longest time, it looked like Macron was going to surge to victory, but suddenly we have Le Pen really making him push for it. And with the election tomorrow and Le Pen still getting momentum, still surging, I would not be surprised if we do see a Marine Le Pen victory. So my personal prediction for this, I think that it's going to be Marine Le Pen and Emmanuel Macron. I think Macron will win the first round. Le Pen will probably come in a very narrow second place. Macron will probably win the first round by like 2 or 3 points. So I think the first round is going to be very close, actually. But then the second round, I'm kind of iffy on because I think Le Pen's going to get at least 10% of the supporters. But no matter what of the our party, the other conservative party is probably going to get. She's probably going to about 10% of the vote gain there. That gets her to about 40 to 45%, which is much better than her 2017 performance. So, but from then on, it really just depends if these third parties turn out for Macron or not. If they don't, I think Le Pen could win this. But if they do, then she's probably going to lose by a very narrow margin. So overall, I actually think the French election is going to be very competitive. I think it's going to be super close. I do think Macron is probably narrowly going to edge it out, however. I hope Le Pen wins. She's awesome on the issues, but it is France we're talking about, and the polls may be a bit of a psyop. I've considered that possibly as well. But to possibly encourage leftist turnout because they're so afraid of Le Pen, I'm kind of questioning on that. But I do think it's going to be super close. I think if I had to guess, I'd say Macron will very narrowly pull it out. But I think Le Pen definitely has a shot. If you're in France, go vote for Le Pen. She's gonna save your country, and she's a great candidate. So with that, I just think it's very interesting that this race is getting super competitive because of really Macron just playing into Le Pen's hands. So with that, thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope you will be back for the next one.